My hallway was a mess, again. "You really can't keep it clean?" she asked. The door wasn't even shut, she was already inside. 8:14 am. Barefoot, I watched her turn my lock like she owned the place. Her name, Patricia Whittaker. Her titles, mother-in-law. Her specialty, taking over my life one subtle invasion at a time. I'm Madison Harper, married to Cole Whittaker for 3 years. For 3 years, every corner of my home has been under her scrutiny. Patricia Whittaker, his mother, treating my life like a boutique hotel she had just checked into, her designer heels clicking across my floors with ownership in every step. She stepped over my son's backpack, picked it up with 2 fingers and exhaled like she had uncovered a biohazard. "I raised Cole better than this," she murmured, soft, almost sweet, but there was ice behind the words. Cole was at the office, blissfully unaware, always missing these little ambushes that had become routine. I used to brush it off, telling myself she was just old school, particular, Mom. Those 3 words, the excuse, the shield, the mantra, echoed through our marriage like a haunting soundtrack, a constant reminder that in her eyes nothing I did was ever quite enough. Then came the drawers, the rearranged utensils. My kitchen, my rules, her hands rifling through everything as if it belonged to her by birthright. "Some women just aren't built for managing a household," she said, voice soft, almost gentle, but every syllable cut sharper than a knife. She wasn't visiting, she wasn't helping, she was asserting, claiming, controlling. Every casserole she dropped off unasked. Every pile of laundry she folded without permission. Every cold, judgmental photo of dishes left in my sink while I was out with my son, each a subtle battle, a silent invasion. Cole would shrug, brushing it off with that familiar, maddening line. "She means well, Maddie, that's just Mom." But it wasn't just Mom. It never was. I could feel it in the way she looked at my floors, scanned my counters, and lingered over the crumbs she seemed to catalogue like evidence. Every gesture, every word was a reminder that in her eyes my home, and my life, was never quite good enough. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, I began to see the truth. This wasn't love, it was strategy. Then came the key. It looked small, ordinary, just a thin piece of brass lying on the kitchen counter, but the moment Cole picked it up the air shifted. "Mom should have a copy," he said casually. Before I could process the words, he placed it in her hand. No discussion, no glance in my direction, no quiet "is that okay with you?" I stood there frozen. Patricia's perfectly manicured fingers closed around the key slowly, deliberately, almost delicately, like she was accepting something she had always believed was rightfully hers. Her lips curved into that polite smile she wore so well, the one that looked warm to everyone else but never quite reached her eyes. Then she slipped the key into her designer purse. A click. The clasp snapped shut. Such a tiny sound, but it echoed through my chest. Because in that moment I realized something. It wasn't just a spare key. It was permission. Permission to walk into my house whenever she wanted. Permission to inspect my kitchen, my living room, my life. And the worst part, it wasn't her smile. It was the man standing beside me. My husband. The one who had just handed her the door. She didn't just visit anymore, not really. Visits are casual, friendly, temporary. What she was doing felt different, deliberate, careful, like someone quietly collecting pieces of a puzzle. She was building a case. She timed how long it took me to answer the door after a knock, stepping in like a shadow the moment I hesitated. She watered my plants, but never without commenting on the dust along the windowsill. She opened my pantry and rearranged my spices, sliding jars forward like a detective inspecting evidence, lingering just long enough to make me feel exposed. Then came the photos. Laundry baskets waiting to be folded, my son's toys scattered across the living room floor in the middle of playtime, a few crumbs on the counter after breakfast. Click, 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 screenshots sent to Cole while I wasn't even home. The baby's environment, she called it. Her voice soft, controlled, maternal, pretending to care, but I saw through it. Every detail was deliberate. Each small act piled on top of the last, and suddenly my home felt like a battleground. My chest tightened. My hands itched to clean, to explain, but I knew she wanted something else, a reaction. Fear, doubt, chaos, not just a mess, but proof that I was failing. I wasn't overwhelmed, I wasn't behind, I was under siege, and the worst part, she had been planning it all along. Sunday lunch, my kitchen, 12 family members, all eyes unknowingly on me. I cooked for 2 days, scrubbed floors and counters until midnight, made sure the hallway gleamed. Everything was perfect, or so I thought. She arrived early, of course, white blazer, inspecting eyes scanning every corner, every chair, every plate. Halfway through dessert, fork tapping her glass, sweet smile plastered on her face. "I've been concerned about the conditions, we should discuss what's best for the baby," she said, calm, maternal, deliberate. Silence swallowed the room. Cole froze, caught between loyalty and confusion. Her voice soft, caring, but I saw the strategy behind it, the documentation, the evidence, the slow erosion of my authority. She wasn't gossiping. She wasn't visiting. She was trying to replace me. Every glance at my son, every nod at the kitchen, every tiny judgment was a calculated move. And in that moment I realized it. My home wasn't hers, but she was determined to make it feel like it. That night I stopped crying. No tears, no shouting, just planning. I realized she wasn't here to help, she was here to take over. The next morning I turned my home into a fortress, not hidden cameras but visible ones. Smart locks, clearly marked, every door, every entry point secured. I gathered every piece of proof I could. Pediatric reports, growth charts, vaccination records, a letter from my therapist confirming I'd attended postpartum counseling voluntarily, fully stable, fully capable. Every date, every comment, every visit meticulously documented. Thursday, 9:03 a.m. Her key turned in the lock, denied. Doorbell rang. I opened it slowly, calm, smiling. "Oh, I updated the locks. Safety," I said. Spotless hallway, minimal living room, cameras visible yet subtle. She noticed. Of course she did. I slid a folder across the counter, voice steady, controlled. Pediatric records, therapist letters, all organized, all undeniable. "I thought you'd like to see this," I said. And for the first time in years she looked exposed, vulnerable, not in control. "You recorded me," she snapped, sharp, accusing. "Yes," I said, head tilted, calm, controlled. My hands didn't shake. My voice didn't waver. I had rehearsed this for years in silence, in dread, in tiny moments of observation. Cole walked in, stepping into a silence so thick it felt staged. The TV frozen on her intrusions. Time-stamped footage of her walking uninvited into my home, photographing my son's toys, rifling through drawers. "Mom," he breathed, "you're serious?" "Yes, trespass notice, harassment charges if boundaries are crossed, scheduled visits only, no more uninvited entries," I said evenly. She froze, dignity fraying. Every strategy, every attempt to undermine me laid bare. Cole looked at me differently now, realizing for the first time who I really was and who she really was. The house felt different, not cleaner, not quieter, but finally mine. I wasn't just defending my home. I was reclaiming it, reclaiming my son, reclaiming myself. And in that calm, steady victory, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, unstoppable.